Okay, hello you guys. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Feminine Friday. Happy Friday. We are here talking about a very juicy topic, something that a lot of people, for some apparent reason, are searching for. You know, I'm not surprised, but I am surprised by some of the questions that came up. But we're going to be discussing the top 5 questions that are searched up in 2026 regarding love and dating. And some of these might surprise you as they did for me. Some of these might not surprise you as some of them didn't. But we're going to be talking about why dating is so hard in 2026. How to know if someone's taking you seriously. If you're attracting the wrong person. If love is supposed to be peaceful and intenseful. And how to know to walk away from a relationship. It's very, 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 very juicy topics. And I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about them, giving you guys my raw opinion. But before we get into today's topic, do remember to subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and do like the video as well. And also, please make sure to check out this new service that I'm providing, one-on-one consultations. Look at this video for the information now. Hi loves, if you've been wanting more personalized guidance, I'm so excited to be officially announcing that I'm going to be offering one-on-one virtual consultations. Whether if it's in real estate, financial direction, emotional intelligence, or just helping navigate through life, I'm here to help you think through it with clarity, intention, and confidence. I'm offering flexible sessions between 15, 30, 45 minutes, and even up to 1 hour, so you can choose what works best for you. If you'd like to book, you can use the link below or the information in the description. Just a quick note, this is general guidance based off of my professional experience in real estate, finance, and other life endeavors, and is not legal, financial, or licensed advice. So please make sure to review the terms before booking, and if this is your first time booking, there is a 10% off promotion available. Make sure to use the information below or the information in the description for the promotion code based off of your session length. I'm absolutely looking forward to connecting with you guys during these one-on-one sessions. Now let's get back to our regular scheduled programming. Okay, so getting right into this, I don't even know where to start because these questions were very surprising to me. I asked a few of my single friends. I actually know more people in relationships and that are married than I do know single people. So it took a little bit of digging, no shade to anyone. But I asked a few people that I know, and apparently, yes, these questions are things that they worry about, things that they ask about. Even I talk to them sometimes about their, challenges, and this is what I came to the conclusion to. And I did some research on what are people talking about, what are people struggling with, what are people asking when it comes to love and relationships in 2026. And these were the top 5 questions that came up. Top 5. So I'm here to answer them to you. So let's get into the first question. And I wrote them down so I don't forget. First question is, why is dating so hard right now? And first thing I would say to that is that dating isn't hard. It's just people don't know what they want. I think, and I'm saying this based off of the people that I talk to. I've talked to both men and women about this. And when I ask them what struggles are they seeing in relationship or in dating, specifically, I always realize something. And this doesn't I'm not how can I say, singling out a specific gender. I think this goes for both. When I say people don't know what they want, when I ask people that are in the dating market what are they looking for, they don't know how to answer that question in a simple way. I think that they just have an overall list of things that they'd like versus knowing what you want. And I think people get so caught up with social media, you should create a list of your non-negotiables, of what you desire, or what you're looking for in a man, or what you're looking for in a woman. And I think if you're in the process of thinking about dating, then it is helpful to do that. But I don't think when you're going into dating, you should be figuring it out. I think when you're dating, you should have a clear sentence, or at least 2 sentences of what you're looking for. And it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It doesn't have to be something that's overwhelming. Obviously, you guys will get to know each other and find out if you're a good fit for each other as you get to know one another. But I think starting off with, you okay, boy? Sorry, he's not feeling the bends. Come on, lay down. Come on. Lay down. It's okay. He's on medication right now, which hopefully after today it wears off, but he's just been a little bit off, unfortunately. But I just want to, even though we're not playing outside, I still wanted him to get some fresh air, because it's important. It's important, people, especially during this weather that we're having. Get some fresh air, breathe in and out. Yeah, sorry about that. But as I was saying, yes, I think it's very important for people to simplify what they're looking for. And I think another approach as to like why I say people don't know what they want, I also think to add to that is that people don't know how to approach what they do want and how to have enough discernment to see, like, 1 second, let me give him some water. Okay. And yeah, and to add to that, I don't think people have the discernment to know, like, to single out what they do want, especially like when I talk to women. I think women more often get bamboozled. I'm gonna say men and women, because I do have like males that I know that got bamboozled as well. I think people have a tendency of getting bamboozled when they, especially like when they let their guard down because the person that maybe in front of them they desire physically a lot, or there's something about their presence that makes them like more attractive. So people have a tendency of being lenient with people that they're like they really want versus people that, you know, they can see an opportunity with, but not it's just not their person. So I think regardless of your attraction level to the person, I think know if that person, one, aligns with your values. I think the number one approach, is to make sure that you're actually attracted to this person, like not just physically but emotionally and mentally, like you guys connect. Because if you don't have that baseline, it's going to be hard to have like a long-term relationship with someone. And I know there are people out there that aren't as like, you know, they're not as deep, or they're not as you know, they're just not as emotional. I am slowly speaking from my perspective. Do what works for you, but I think having connection, attraction is like the foundation of a relationship, and it's like this a basic for men and women. But then secondly, I think what's important to that is finding someone that matches your values. They don't necessarily have to match like your energy and everything, because especially if you're in a heterosexual relationship, you're going to be different. Like you guys are not going to like the same things, use your time the same ways. Like it's going to be different naturally, and that's good. I think having your individuality is important in a relationship, but obviously like you want the basics of what you're looking for to be the same in terms of values. And when I say that, I mean like religion, I mean like if you want to get married, if you don't want to get married, obviously if you want monogamy, if you don't want monogamy. Like be very straightforward when talking to people, when dating people, when figuring that out with yourself, like regardless of your gender. I know women out there that because they really love a man, they try to do and accommodate certain things that they normally wouldn't, or doesn't align with their values. Don't do that. It's not sustainable long term. And men, same thing. Like don't compromise your values, don't compromise who you are for the sake of a relationship, because later on as I get into this video, the last question actually answers like when you should walk away from a relationship or someone you're dating. But I think I said a lot about that one. Let's move on to the second question. So question number 2, how do I know if they're serious about me? This was an interesting one, and I think this comes up for me a lot. And I'm it's not gender exclusive. There are guys that I talk to that really like a girl, and because she's like texting them and because they hang out, they still feel unsure. And same thing for women, like obviously same thing for women. They feel like, you know, there's a guy that he may be giving them attention and stuff like that, but there's still something there that they both feel, whether man or woman, feels like this person is not taking them seriously. And my answer to that always is, if you are confused, that is your answer. Bottom line. Because the same way how you feel secure, like you're showing up for that person and you're initiating certain things and you're excited and you're kind of like giddy when you're around them, if you're not receiving something mutual towards that, that's your answer. When someone's really serious about you, especially in my experience when from a man to a woman, you know. Like, you know all the way. And when he's not serious about you, you also know. You're just trying to justify in your head the inconsistency, the maybe ill behavior towards someone because you like them. But honestly, the same exact energy that you give and that you feel, you should feel in return. Obviously, like I said, we're men and women, we're different, but you'll know someone's serious about you. And bottom line, if you're confused, that's your answer. And you shouldn't, even if you're just like, oh, like if they are just like a little bit more closed off or they don't express themselves as much, if you don't have that conversation with them, then they're never gonna know. But also, if you have that conversation with them and they know and they're just like unwilling to figure out a path forward, you need to sit down and see if you want to, if that's something that you want long term. Because for me, being in a confused state of mind is not sustainable long term. If you don't see any progress in your relationship, that you guys are moving to the next step of whatever you consider the next step to be, then I would highly suggest not to waste your time. But I think that was pretty straightforward. Let's move on to question number 3. So number 3, why do I keep attracting the wrong person? This one actually surprised me. This was one of the ones that surprised me, because I didn't realize how many people feel like they're attracting the wrong person. And I think that's a really weird way of thinking about things. But then again, it kind of aligns with the first question, which is, why is dating so hard? Which obviously I'm gonna answer the third question, why am I keep attracting the wrong person, differently. But overall, it kind of intertwines with the answer that I gave for question 1, which is you don't really know what you want, or the person that you're trying to be in a relationship with or trying to date doesn't know what they want. And we have 2 people that don't know what they want, or one person that doesn't know what they want, then it's not going to progress forward. The dating phase is not going to be something to enjoy. But answering this question straightforward, why you keep attracting the wrong person, and I would say to that, you're attracting not what you want, you're attracting what you allow. And if you're allowing someone to show up for you, not showing up for you, if you communicated and this person's not taking your communication and the things that you're saying into consideration, and you just like make excuses after excuses for someone when it comes to behaviors that you already communicated, then that's what you're allowing. So it's not about them being the wrong person. It's not so much about them being the wrong person. It's about like you're tolerating pattern. And if you're tolerating certain things that are not sustainable for you long term, certain things that bother you, then obviously the person that you're dating is going to feel like the wrong person. And if you're not, or let's just even segue into something different, if you have a tendency of attracting certain kind of individuals that don't align with your values, I think you need to like figure out like what you're actually attracted to. Because let's just say like you're a Christian, for an example, whether man or woman, and I'm not saying you need to like find everyone at your specific church or at church, or your person's going to be at church. I'm not saying that. But if you're constantly with someone who has a troubled past, has a checkered past, has no intention on fixing themselves, doesn't even believe in God, then I think that is like pretty straightforward and pretty much answers the issue right then and there. You're attracting people with a different mindset, a different value set, and you need to ask yourself, why do I go for this person instead of going for someone who has my same values? Maybe you need to get out more, maybe you need to expand your horizon, maybe you need to be a little more patient, or maybe you need to sit down with yourself and figure out what you're allowing or what you're accepting or what you're actually attracted to, and that will help you kind of feel like you're gonna navigate the dating market a bit better, and you're not gonna quote unquote attract the wrong person. Because I don't think that for me there's a lot of people that I'm just blatantly, what's wrong, boy? Sit down, lay down. Hold on here. think she wants more water. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so for me, I don't think that there is a such thing as like the wrong person. I just think it's more like that's not your person. Because even though there are genuinely evil people in this world, I don't think that there's like, I think having like saying wrong person is just so negative, and it'll put you like in a state of mind where you feel like you're kind of defeated. And remember, just because someone doesn't have the same value sets as you, just because someone doesn't like the same things as you, doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means that they're not your person. But also be mindful that there are some people that are, you know, not in their good phase in life, that they're in their like, I don't know, they're in their, like, as people would say, like their quote unquote player phase or whole phase or whatever the case may be. I don't like using words like that. But also be mindful of people like that. Like, stay clear, because whether you guys values align or not, those kind of people exist. And if they're not in a state where they want to commit, your experience with dating is not going to be the best, even if you guys have good moments that you share, because it's not going to progress forward. So don't let the fun of dating take away from the actual goal of dating, because at the end of the day, the person who wants to actually the person who wants to actually move forward is the person who ultimately is going to lose if you're trying to make something work with someone who is not in their phase in life to commit or won't commit to you. And I would say just be straightforward about where you are and how you feel, and how you want to move forward, so you don't waste your time with quote unquote the wrong person. But moving on to question number 4. Is love supposed to feel peaceful or intense? This one surprised me too, because I don't know. I know that there's a lot of toxic relationships, abusive relationships. I know that they exist. But for that to be in the top 5, I didn't realize how common it was for people to have bad experiences or intense experiences in relationships. And first things first, I'm going to speak to you from the perspective of a healthy relationship. One, healthy relationships are overall supposed to be calm. It's supposed to be peaceful, supposed to be nourishing. Now, am I saying that they are perfect? No. Am I saying that they are without their challenges? No. There are going to be moments where you have conflict, moments where you have disagreement, and I hope that when you're entering a relationship or entering a marriage, that you already know how to you already have good conflict resolution. Because if you don't, then honestly you're going to be the problem. Because if you're a person who doesn't know how to communicate, if you're a person who can't listen or comprehend, or willing to comprehend or try to understand where the other person's coming from, it's going to be an issue. Or if you're a person who just completely shuts down and wants to ignore the issue, it's gonna be a problem. So I would say overall your relationship should be peaceful, funny, happy, full of joy. There are gonna be your moments where, you know, whether life has its challenges, whether the relationship has its disagreements, that are gonna be intense, but they're not going to be like toxic. They're not going to be abusive, and they shouldn't be abusive, especially as an adult. You should have enough self-control and enough, I want to say common sense, but you know, not everything is common, but enough willingness to try to figure things out in a peaceful way. And if you're in a space where, you know, the conversation is just too much, you felt like your person maybe didn't go about something the best way, or really just didn't have your best interest at heart when it came to certain things, or it was just like a major disagreement and you need time to step away, communicate that. Like, hey, I just need like an hour, I need a few hours, I need a day, depending on the intensity of like the issue, and just step aside, but don't step aside and don't ghost somebody. Just communicate with them, like, hey, I just need some time I need some time of quiet and peace, like, to myself, because this situation or this circumstance that I want to communicate to you about, I'm not in the rightful state of mind to do it properly. And that's the way a healthy relationship is supposed to be. So, like, if you're in a relationship where you feel like you have to chase the person constantly, this person's constantly avoiding you, they make everything into an argument, they don't know how to they're not really good at conflict resolution, or they're just like very toxic, very aggressive, you really need to reevaluate that relationship. And if that person's not willing to change and hear you out, then you know what, you need to do what's best for you. And that brings us to our final question, which is, when should I walk away from a relationship? This was a good one, because even I even struggled with this at a point in time in my life. And this wasn't surprising to me, but it's unfortunate that people are experiencing hardships where they feel like they have to leave a relationship. So number one, you leave a relationship when there is lack of effort, lack of respect. Two major things that I do not play with, and patterns that are just very toxic. Those are the three reasons why I would recommend it's time to walk away from the relationship. Now, am I saying, hey, at the first thing of disrespect or lack of effort, leave? No. You communicate like, hey, I felt like what you said, what you did was disrespectful, and I would like you not to do it again, or I'd like to understand why you did it, so if there was something that I did, I can correct it so it doesn't happen again. But there needs to be some form of communication, right? There needs to be some form of, hey, I tried to reconcile the situation, I try to make things better, and there's just constant disrespect, there's constant lack of effort, and every time I try to communicate with this person, either they say yes and they do something else, or they say yes and they change, but then they fall back into the same pattern. And then segueing that into like patterns, like if you see that person is just playing around with you, because we're all adults. If like 1 minute you want to be good, for a couple months you want to be good, and the next minute you want to go back to the same behavior, that's who you are. And if you want to live with someone who exhilarates that kind of behavior, you know, to each its own. But I don't recommend it. If you see someone has a very bad temper, if you see someone is constantly like, I don't know, like they're constantly like cheating, they're constantly lying, they're constantly like, they just do dishonorable things, like just, you know, respectfully walk away, because it's not necessarily just a pattern, it's who they are. And if you don't want to be with someone who's a liar, who's a cheater, a manipulator, aggressive, or has even bad habits like drug habits, alcohol habits, you have every right to just be like, hey, this isn't for me, this isn't sustainable long term, I can't raise a family with this circumstance. And obviously I'm speaking to people who are in relationships and people who are dating. I would suggest to do this and know this about the person before you get into a marriage, before you have a family, before you have children with someone, because then things aren't as simple. And I can do another video on what I would recommend when you're actually in a marriage, and maybe I can have someone actually give their opinions on these same questions relevant to marriage, to give you guys a better insight, just because obviously I'm a little lacking in that department right now. But as far as dating, even if I'm not like in the market, even if I'm not dating, I want to give you guys like what works for me, what has worked for me, and overall what I would want for you guys to experience. So you shouldn't have to lose yourself just for the sake of relationship, but you should always strive to improve yourself, whether you're in a relationship or not, because that's like your self-integrity, that's like your self-development, that has nothing to do with another person, that's your individuality. And if someone doesn't like certain things about you, you know what they are. If they're valid things, like you're a liar, you're a cheater, you have dishonorable characteristics, I would highly suggest taking into consideration. But if someone doesn't like, I don't know, like let's just say for me, like someone doesn't like, believe that this was actually crazy, I experienced this one time, I'll open up to you guys. You guys know I'm very big on romance movies. There was this person I was dating. They didn't like how much I liked romance movies. And I'm just like, why? it's a movie. And I didn't understand that. And I tried to understand that. And I think it was just more like an underlining jealousy factor. And when I was with that person, I was trying to make it work, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, I just won't, like, it's not the end of the world. I'm not gonna like leave you just because you don't like movies. If you really don't like that I do it, then fine. And I think when it comes to certain things, it's appropriate. But if that person has other things that are just like not the best about them or don't align with you, then just walk away. Don't wait for the worst thing to happen to give yourself the excuse or give yourself the validation, or to get to the point where you literally have no other choice but to walk away. Own in that power, sit in that power, do it respectfully, do it gracefully, and try to have a conversation with that person before it gets to that point. I would suggest like baseball, 3 strikes you're out kind of thing. If that person genuinely is struggling with something more serious, then obviously play it by ear. You evaluate the situation accordingly, but give yourself a deadline, give yourself a limit, so you're not overextending in something that's draining you. So I wanted to come to you guys. I hope that this video was a blessing to you guys. I wanted to come to you with something a little bit different, something very helpful, something obviously very feminine on this beautiful Feminine Friday, and something that's gonna obviously push you guys along towards success when it comes to dating and relationships. And I pray that you guys find what you're looking for. You guys don't necessarily settle for something that's not sustainable long term, that you guys have the utmost love and abundance, excitement, and joy in your relationships. And that's all I have for today. So I'm gonna see you guys in my next video. Remember, we drop content every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I might have a special treat for you guys later on. I might be doing a double feature. We're going to see. It just depends on how long these errands take me. So without further ado, be on the lookout for that. It will drop later on this evening, if not later on tonight. But remember, love yourself, be intentional about yourself, and be very serious to yourself and to others about what you want. Don't be lackadaisical with people just because you like them. You like one more than another. Keep everyone at the same standard. Keep your standards clear, and be realistic. Be realistic, be optimistic, trust God, and navigate with intention. But that's all I have for today. So I'll see you guys in my next video. So bye.